Let's do some spooky and easy Halloween nail art designs. We're gonna start with a Beetlejuice-inspired design. We will paint the ring fingernail green and then do a French tip. The rest of the nails will be painted white. So take a small liner brush to make the initial line of the French tip. Take your time to make the line so it's a good guide when you decide to paint the rest. And using the same brush of the nail polish, paint the French tip. Clean up the sides with 100% acetone to clean up anything that you paint on your skin. And apply a light layer of top coat on all of the nails. This is necessary for the next step. Make sure that it dries before doing the next step. Now, using a stripping tape, we're gonna put some lines on the white nails, and this is up to you. Can do as many lines as you will like. I decided to make them as small as possible, and using some scissors cut out any excess. Make sure to leave a little bit of the stripping tape at the end of the nail so it's easier to remove once we need to take it off. I use some tweezers to help me locate the stripping tape better on each of the nails instead of my fingers because if I have long nails, but that is optional. Now we're gonna do the same on the French tip on the ring finger. This is only on the white area, so we're gonna need smaller pieces of the stripping tape. Once you're happy on how it looks, paint over with black nail polish. You can do as many coats as you want. Just make sure that each of the coats is very thin, otherwise it's gonna be very difficult to remove the stripping tape and it can get a little bit messy as this could smudge the black nail polish. Be extra careful on the ringer finger as this is a smaller area. I'm using this brush on the nail polish, but you can use whatever you want. If you have a liner brush and you think that will be easier for you to control the color, then you can do that. Otherwise, just go as slow as you want. Take your time and just make sure that all the white is covered. Otherwise, it's gonna look a little smudge when you remove the tape. Once you're done, let it dry and then start removing the strips. Take your time, don't be too quick on it, or otherwise it can ruin the design. And go one by one to remove each of the stripping tape. As you can see, some of the black nail polish could smudge on the white areas that we want. You can fix that later before applying the top coat. I'm using some tweezers to remove the tape as it's easier than using my fingers, and I avoid touching the nail polish with my hand as this could ruin the design. If you applied a thick layer of the black nail polish, this could happen as it could pull some of the nail polish that you wanted to stay on the finger. Just leave it there, it will dry up. Once you're done, clean up your finger with some 100% acetone to remove any imperfections or clean up your skin, and then apply a thick top coat on each of the nail. And you're done. Some Beetlejuice inspired. Now we're gonna do some nail art with a skull. I'm not the best doing drawings, so I'm using a nail art template. We're gonna do a base coat layer, let it dry, and then using either nail polish or acrylic paint, we're gonna do the lines to make the skull. Take your time, as if you're using acrylic paint, you can just wipe it out with water and then start again. Make sure that you don't fill your brush with too much paint, otherwise it could make the lines too big and it will not look as you would like. Once you're happy with the result of the drawing, just let it dry and you can go ahead and paint your nails. I'm gonna paint my nails with a black nail polish first. I'm just gonna do a thin layer of black nail polish on each of the nails. We're gonna use a magnetic dark purple nail polish. Apply the first layer of the polish and then use the magnet to move the pigment around. I want to make a small black circle on the middle where we're gonna put the skull drawing. Keep the magnet there for about a minute so the nail polish dry, and repeat the process on the rest of the nails. Once the drawing is dry, use some tweezers to remove the drawing from the plastic. Your time, don't be too harsh, otherwise it could break the drawing. And make sure to remove first all of the edges before moving to pull all of the design. Once you start pulling, be as gentle as possible, as it will be a very thin layer because we use base coat. Once you have it on your hand, use some scissors to remove any excess around the design. Try to cut as close as possible of the drawing, and once you're happy with it, start putting the drawing on top of your nail and gently tap it to keep it in place. Clean up any imperfections. And now we're gonna apply a layer of top coat. Using a liner brush, we're gonna do edge of a French tip, but not gonna fill it to simulate a French tip. And we're gonna do that on all of the nails, and that's the final look. Now we're gonna do some nail designs with a little ghost. Using the same nail art template, we're gonna apply a layer of base coat, and then we're gonna first do the lines of the ghost with black acrylic paint. You can also use nail polish. This is a nail art template that I created. If you would like to use it for your nail art designs, check the link on the description to download it for free. To make the little shadows, I just mix the acrylic paint with a little water and then apply it on top. You need to let it dry before moving to the next step. So once that's done, then you're gonna cover everything with white acrylic paint or gel polish. Be gentle and don't be too harsh, otherwise you can move the paint that is underneath, and since it's black paint it could smudge the design. So be as patient as possible and take your time to fill out all the design. You're gonna let that dry, and while we're doing that, we're gonna paint our nails. I'm using black paint, but you can use any color you will like. I'm gonna apply a couple of layers as this is a thin black nail polish. Then we're gonna do some flowers. I'm using orange paint to make some little flowers on each of the nail. I'm gonna do 2 flowers per nail. I'm gonna put the ghost on the ring finger. So the flowers that I'm going to do on that finger gonna be a little bit more spaced out. As you can see on the middle finger and on the index finger, the flowers are a little together. I'm gonna take some brown paint and make the edges of the flower. Once you're done, apply top coat on each of the nail except the one we're gonna put the little ghost. So we're gonna take some tweezers and we're gonna remove the edges of the drawing. Take your time. You can use a cuticle pusher to remove the drawing in case it's a little too stuck. This could happen if the design is a little too big or has a lot of painting. Take some tweezers to start pulling the drawing away from the plastic. And again, do this slowly, otherwise you could break the drawing. Once it's out of the plastic, then take some scissors and we're gonna remove the excess of the base coat. Try to put it as close as possible to the edge of the drawing so it looks as smooth as possible on the nail. Now we're gonna place it on the nail that we wanted, and using the tweezers, you're gonna push gently the design on top of the nail. And once it's in place where you want it, you're gonna gently push it to make sure that it stays in place and there is no rough edges. Once you're done, put a thick top coat. And you're done. Some ghost designs. Now we're gonna paint some spider webs. We're gonna first gonna paint all of the nails with some holographic nail polish. I'm gonna do multiple layers of the nail polish. As you can see, this is a very thin color. Once you're done, we're gonna start making the spider web. Make a line in the middle of the finger. Then let's do another line horizontally. And then we're gonna do diagonal lines on the four. Try not to push too much the brush, otherwise it will make the lines too thick. And then we're gonna do curved lines in between, the curve pointing to the middle of the lines, to the center. And we're gonna repeat the process on each of the spaces that we created with the lines that we did. Now we're gonna do some half spider webs on the nail. So we're just gonna do 2 diagonal lines. You can make more depending on how big your nail is or how big the curved lines you want to make them. And once you have those lines, then just start making the curved lines on each of the spaces. As you can see, I added another diagonal line because those curved lines were too big and it didn't look as good. You can just adjust it depending on how your nail looks. We're gonna repeat the same process, but at the bottom of the nail or at the top, depending on how you want to look it. Once you're done and happy with the result, apply the glossy top coat. And that's it. We have some cute spider webs designs. Now we're gonna do some pumpkin nail art using the nail art template. So I'm gonna put a base coat and then I'm going to use brown paint to make the face of the pumpkin. Make sure that the brush is not too filled with paint, as these are very small details of the design. If you would like to know more details about the nail art template, please let me know in the comments. With the same brown paint, we're gonna do the edges of the design. Once we let that dry, we're gonna paint our nails on an orange color. This is a thin, very thin nail polish, so we're gonna do multiple layers of the nail color. Then we're gonna use a liner brush and we're gonna do a line to simulate a French tip, but we're not gonna fill it. And then we're gonna do small lines vertically to simulate stitches. Remove the design from the plastic and then cut the edges with a scissor. And once you're done with that, place the design on top of your nail. You can slightly pull it and place it in the place that you will like. Make sure that do not pat it too hard if in case you want to move it, and once you're happy where you want it to be, just start gently pat it on top of your nail. You can use the tweezers to pat it on the sides of the nail in case the design is too big for your nail. Once you're happy with how it looks, apply a top coat. This will help to blend the edges of the base coat so it will look as smooth as possible. And that's it. Now we're gonna do some bats and moons. We're gonna do a nail art design of a moon with two bats from the nail art template. So we're gonna use some base coat and then we're gonna start filling out the design. I'm gonna use black paint to fill out the bats. Make sure that the brush does not have too much paint, as this could make the lines too big. And as you can see, this is a very small bat and the lines needs to be as small as possible to make sure that the design is as close as it is on the nail template. If you're liking this video, make sure to give us a like and subscribe for more nail art and nail care ideas. Once you're done with the bats, then we're gonna fill the moon with white paint. I'm using white as later I'm gonna use holographic nail polish. The reason that I'm painting the design first with acrylic paint instead of using the holographic paint first is because the holographic paint is too heavy due to the glitter particles, and if I paint first with the holographic paint, it's gonna stuck too much on the base coat, and once I'm pulling out of the plastic sheet, it's gonna break. So I'm gonna apply some small layer of the acrylic paint as it's gonna work as a base so the holographic nail polish doesn't dissolve the base coat. Now I'm applying the holographic nail polish on top of the black bats, and we're gonna do the same for the moon. I'm gonna use a gold holographic glitter. When you're applying the holographic nail polish, make sure to grab a little more nail polish, as usually holographic nail polish doesn't have a very strong base color and it's mainly just the glitter. So it's gonna need a thicker layer. We're gonna do another bat and we're gonna repeat the same process. We're gonna first gonna paint it with acrylic paint. I'm using black paint here. And then we're going to apply the holographic nail polish. Now we're gonna paint our nails while we wait for the designs to dry. We're gonna use the same dark magnetic nail polish. I'm going to use a magnet underneath my nail so we make us a line between the nail, sort of a cat eye. Try not to move the finger too much, otherwise this will move the design. Make sure to let it dry before moving to the next finger. So apply a thin layer, wait for it to dry, and then apply another layer. These polishes may need to apply 3 layers. It really depends on the ones that you use. You can also put the magnet on top of the finger to make the line. That's really up to you depending on how strong you want the line to look at. Now we're gonna do some little dots with the gold holographic nail polish on the nails that are not gonna have the nail art. Once the nail art is dry, and I mean really dry, then we're gonna remove it from the plastic. And the same thing we're gonna repeat. Take the tweezers and start pulling the design slowly. This one is heavy as it has a lot of paint on top, so it could break. Take your time to pull it away. Once it's no longer stuck, we're gonna cut the edges. Same as before, we're gonna try to cut it as close as possible to the edge of the drawing. As this is a more complex drawing, you can leave a little bit more of a space, but if you're more experienced with the scissors, then you can take as much as you will like. Remember that the base coat is gonna blend once you apply the top coat, so it really doesn't matter if you leave some base coat at the edge. Once you're happy with it, we're gonna place it on the finger. Don't push it yet until you're happy where you want it, and start to gently push it on the finger and push the sides so it gets stuck on all of the nail and there is no rough edges. And then we're gonna do the same thing with a little bat. Again, this one is heavy, so take your time to pull it away from the plastic sheet. Then we're gonna place it on top of the nail that we wanted. Gently tap it so it gets a little stuck on your nail, and then you're gonna gently push it to make sure that everything is stuck on top of your nail. It may look that I'm pushing too hard, but I'm being as gentle as possible. And we're done. We have some cute bats on our nails. Thank you for watching. If you would like to see more nail art, then check out all of the other videos on our channel. Thank you.